for your mercies. We thank you for your goodness. We thank you for upholding your end of the covenant, Almighty Yah. We thank you for reestablishing the covenant through Yahshua. We thank you for caring so much about us that you would give us away, Almighty Yah. That you would help the stumbling man, the staggering man. That you would help the widows. That you would help those that are in ditches. That you would help those who are in spiritual poverty, Almighty. You would help those who are paralyzed in their soul. That you would find a way to get us back to you. And we thank you, Almighty Yah. We know that there is no, that you don't put any division among our wrongdoing, Almighty Yah. You just deem us all guilty. But we thank you through the blood, through the power and the water of the word, Almighty Yah, that the conscience and heart, and that the temples can be cleaned, they can be made right, where the fire and the light can burn within. And Yah, we just thank you. We just praise you, Yah. And we just ask for an increase of the Ruach, that your people may be reverence to you, give you all reverence and due honor, Almighty Yah, that we don't fear you enough, that we have been so watered down. We've just been so watered down. We've been so malnourished in you, that we don't fear you. We don't respect you as we should, Almighty Yah. So I just ask for your forgiveness. Yes, and I just ask that you would be with us, that you would bless us, Almighty, that we may grow by the Ruach, and that you would help us to be able to be the ambassadors of Mashiach that we've been called to be, that there's such a bigger purpose, a bigger plan, and sometimes we still fiddle bit, Almighty Yah. We still got our shoes untied. We do, pants ain't zipped, Almighty Yah. We got a couple of buttons on our uniform not buttoned up. And I just ask that you would help us with these little silly, ignorant, trifling, ridiculous, childish things that we keep wanting to put in our backpack, like Rebecca. So Yah, you're so good, you ain't slay us. And you gave us one more chance. Yah, I ask that you would forgive me for not being right with you, and ask that you would remove me out of the way, that Yahshua may administer to the people. For nothing is more important than the word of Yah going forth to his people, that his people may know that there is hope. For whatsoever thing was written aforetime was written for our learning, and through the comfort and the patience of the scriptures, that we might have hope. Our hope is not lost. You made a way. And I pray, Almighty Yah, there will be a people who will be found on the way as you do what you do. Because you're going to allow the powers of this earth to do what they got to do. You're going to give them free reign to do what they got to do. So, Yah, I pray that you will give me, I just pray that Yahshua will take over, and that he will handle all things, and that you will convey this word, and you will bring things to my mind, to and for the people, Almighty Yah. So I just thank you and I praise you. In Yahshua HaMashiach, let me pray. Amen and amen.
Amen. Line up your brain. There we go. Better.
Yeah. Is it on?
Yes.
Oh. Yeah, go ahead and start. Well, hallelujah and amen. Brothers and sisters, we are back here, back in the house of the Most High. We had a good time in Corn Flash Shabbat in Mississippi, and we're hoping to continue to do that work, and that the people in Corn, the people there in Mississippi, that they will come and join the Tri-State Fellowship. But with that being said, as we always say, peace, shalom, and love to the 12 tribes of Israel, whom Yah has scattered abroad. As we always say, or actually as Shaul says, to the Yahudim, and then to the Gentiles, and then to the nations. This word is for every creature under the sound of my voice up under heaven. But it's the power of the word that can get the dope head off dope. It's the power of the word that can give our young men that slay each other, that throw up gang signs and shoot pistols, pistol play daily. It's the power of the word that can pull them out. It's those that are stranded on death row that have committed, we talked about today, committed all kind of acts of evil. It's the power of the word that can give you repentance if you want it. It's the power of the word that can keep our young women from exposing themselves and hoeing themselves and prostituting themselves if they want to. It's the power of the word that can pull people from depravity of mind and depression. It's the power of the word that can set us straight and make us free. So we give all praise and honor to Yah through his son Yahshua HaMashiach. And there's the power of the Ruach HaKodesh, of the Spirit, that will guide us back, because we are all under the penalty, or we've all been deemed guilty by sin. None of us are free of our own will, or been found innocent of our own will. So we give all praise and glory to Yah and the son Yahshua HaMashiach. So with that being said, we are here today. Today, our message is as the world turns. If you're an 80s baby, or if you grew in you lived in a different era, the first thing you think of is some soap operas. And I guess it might be some soap. There might be a soap opera to this when we look at how the world is set up around us. Okay, how things are set up around us, and how we're playing roles and don't even know it. Okay, you are executing things and you don't even know it. Involved in stuff and we don't even know it. Following, like the horse following the carrot. Didn't know a carrot was dangling in front of you. Okay, but we're going to look at today, as the world turns, part 1, avoiding complacency. Okay, avoiding complacency. As we has been out of Sukkot now, we've talked about some things, right? We have looked at some things. One thing we talked about is that one thing we're going to look at today is that whatever is planned to be, whatever is set to be, it is set to be. You are on a train track. You're a person. There's a train coming at you. You better move. Get out the way. Why do you need to get out the way? Because nothing is going to stop the train. The train needs so many miles to come to a stop once the train is going. So when we look at what Yah has made permissible for the powers that be, for the nations that be, for the people in the positions they are like a train on a train track. And the saints of the Most High, we got to be prepared and awake. You can't be walking on a train track with your earphones in your ear, because you can't hear the you can't hear it. You don't see the sight because you're in La La Land, and the train's going to completely destroy you. All right? So there's a train that's coming, and the saints of the Most High, we got to be knowledgeable of this train so that we can avoid, or at least be prepared. Just to be prepared. Okay, we talked about entering into this season post Sukkot, right? As we get into fall and winter, what have we been talking about? That there's less what?
Light.
Less light. And there's more what? Darkness. Okay? So there's less light, more darkness. All right? The times and seasons. All right? This can be a reflection of our life. There's less light and there's more darkness. This can be a reflection of our lives. Certain things, for some reason, pop off here. So we're entering a time in the year, it is scheduled this way, that there's going to be more darkness than light. So then parallel that to your life. You should not be surprised if there's what? More darkness than light in your life. Why? Because the seasons around you, there's more darkness than light. We have to turn the clocks back an hour tonight, right? It's just that time. My little thing, my little Damian Lillard thing. You know what time it is. You know what time it is. But we act like we don't. So in the season around us, there is more darkness than light. And then we think that on parallel to our life. I guess, I'll be the dummy then. All right. If we are consumed by the darkness, our eyes adjust to it. Because we're in a season where what? There's more what? Darkness than light. So now we become nocturnal. There's got some animals up here. You know what they do? They see good at night. Mm-hmm. And when we become complacent, mm-hmm. when we become desensitized to light, and our eyes or our feelings or our emotions or our thinking adapts to more of this darkness, then we become a bat, a raccoon, a coyote, a possum. We can see, we've adapted to it. We've adapted, and I can see through this. So after Sukkot, the saints must work harder. Yeah. You must work harder. It's not complicated, but we make it complicated. We go through the same thing every year, but we forget. We don't hang on to things. So after Sukkot, the saints must work harder. Why? Because there's more darkness than it is light. And if the saints aren't careful, the saints' vision becomes nocturnal. And we're able to see not through the darkness, but we see with it. I become yoked with this that I see. I become a part of this system. System all around you. 1 Corinthians, 2nd chapter. Being first verse. Don't read the whole chapter. Hallelujah, whenever you get there. 1 Corinthians, 2nd chapter, verse 1. Hallelujah, whenever you get there.
Hallelujah.
Praise God. We're in 1 Corinthians 2, first chapter, and it reads, "And I, brethren, when I came to you, came not with excellency of speech or of wisdom, declaring unto the testimony of Elohim. For I determined not to know anything among you save Yahshua HaMashiach and him crucified. And I was with you in weakness and in fear and in much trembling. And my speech and my preaching was not with enticing words of man's wisdom, but in demonstration of the Spirit and of power, that your faith should not stand in wisdom of men, but in the power of Elohim. Howbeit we speak wisdom among them that are perfect, yet not the wisdom of this world, nor the princes of this world that come to naught. But we speak the wisdom of God in a mystery, even the hidden wisdom which God ordained before the world unto our glory, which none of the princes of this world knew, for had they known it, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory. But as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered to the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Ruach. For the Ruach searcheth all things, yea, the deep things of God. For what man knoweth the things of man, save the spirit of man which is in him? Even so the things of God knoweth no man, but the Spirit of God. Now we have received not the spirit of the world. Now we have received not the spirit of the world. Now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit which is of God. So in this time, while there is more darkness than light, we have to make sure that we don't get our inner man or inner woman entangled with the spirit of the what? World. Because this is a high time for them. How do you know? Well, they just got through doing what? Hallowed time, right? A hallowed time to the dead, right? If you're of the Española, you have the Day of the Dead, right? So there are things going on in the atmosphere And the saints of the Most High are surrounded by the spirit of the world, or just darkness, just more darkness. Right? So you got to keep your little temple. You got to have your little armed guard on guard. He got to work longer shift. So whoever got that night shift, you working more hours than the dude working the dude's working the day shift. Huh? Because if you don't be careful, that guard at nighttime is going to be nocturnal. You're going to be calling you a coon. And not because you didn't throw your fist up in the national anthem. We'll get on that too. You didn't take a knee. Stand your silly butt up. Being played. You got to know when you're being played. You got to know when somebody pulling strings. Yeah, don't worry about it. Verse 13. Which things also we speak, not in the words which man's wisdom teacheth, but which the Ruach HaKodesh teacheth, comparing spiritual things with spiritual. But the natural man received not the things of the Spirit of God. But the natural man received not the things of the Spirit of God. Right? So we cannot be in our natural selves during this time. Because during this time, all right, things that we harbor, or things that we came from, whatever it is, okay, it's going to be very sensitive to the things of this world going on right now. So the natural man received not the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness unto him. Neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. But he that is spiritual judgeth all things, yet he himself is judged of no man. For who hath known the mind of the Lord, that he may instruct him? But we have the mind of Mashiach. So we must have the mind of Mashiach, as the darkness is allotted more time. You must have the mind of Mashiach, as darkness is allotted more time. I don't know what to tell you. The sun comes up later and it goes down quicker. I don't know what to tell you. You just got through with all of the festivals that Yah said to do. And now you're supposed to do what? Wait it out. You got to wait it out. Philippians 2, God got it for you. If there be therefore any consolation in Christ, if any comfort of love, if any fellowship of the Spirit, if any bowels and mercies, fulfill ye my joy, that ye be like-minded, having the same love, being of one accord, of one mind. Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory. Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory. But in what? Lowliness of the what? Mind. Let each esteem other better than themselves. So as it gets darker, you got to be lifting people up. As it gets darker, you got to be lifting people up. Especially the brethren. Because people of the world, you know, it's a great time for them. Because there's more darkness. Right? Trick or treat, dee 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 dee. It's October, they already got their trees out. But they just let you know all of it's the same. All it's going to take you back to Nimrod. It's going to take you back to after the flood. That's all it's going to do. That's why they all rambled and just stuck together, because it's supposed to be more darkness. And Yah said, I'm going to let you do what you want to do. I'm going to let you have your little way. Worship them powers and other worship them other Elohim. Go ahead, do what you want to do. But my people, fulfill ye my joy, that you may be like-minded, having the same love, being of one accord. Not 3 accords, not 12 accords, not 60 accords, not 2. One accord. One mind. Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind. So you can't esteem nobody else if you ain't humble yourself. Can't lift nobody else up if you ain't lowered yourself. Lowliness of mind. Let each esteem other better than themselves. Look not every man on his own things. Look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. It's part of this daily sacrificing. Let this mind be in you, which was also in your master. See how the mirror always come back on you? Pulling the magnifying glass and doing CIA reports and stuff, but then the mirror always gonna come back to you. Because it was commanded for the people of Philippi that this is how you got to be with each other. But see, when complacency sets in, right? Because we're in that lull, right? You know, it's one thing when you're preparing for Passover, you're preparing for atonement, you're preparing for Sukkot. You know, you see a target, a goal, you see a date, and you're prepping, you're preparing for it. You're going through this steps of repeat. You're doing these different things. But when it's hey, now and I'm not minimizing Chanukah and Purim. I'm just talking about the ones that Yah commanded. Okay, I'm not minimizing them. All right, we do them. I'm like acting crazy. Look, we do them. But the point is that to prepare for them, to get ready for them, it has your mind somewhat focused. You know, it's like you're preparing for a specific season and you're training for it. Well, now, you know, in some ways you're in your off season, saints. You're in your off season. Yah said, "I see you in the Aviv." You're in your off season. I see them. Come to camp ready. Come to camp ready. You're in your off season. That's all right. So a couple weeks ago, we talked about the open door policy. Remember that? Open door, submitting to the Torah and cultivating the Ruach. And what was something we talked about? That each temple has what? Flaws. Every one of us in here got our what? Flaws.
That's right.
Now, if I'm more concerned about Kelly's flaws than my flaws, you know what? I've regressed. And I'm going to camp in Aviv, and you know what? Coach Yahshua gonna say, "Son, you've gotten worse."
That's right.
You've gotten worse.
That's right.
You've regressed. Did you not remember what I told you in Sukkot at the end of the year? Do you not remember? You've regressed. So in order for me to not worry about Kelly's flaws, but to be more uplifting to her, I got to have a lowliness of mind. But you know, when it's off-season time and you're just kind of twiddling your thumbs, you need something to pick and point at. And your dad, I'm sure, ain't going to point at yourself. That take a whole lot of heart. Take a whole lot of heart to look at yourself and worry about yourself.
That's it.
So in this time of off-season, keep working on yourself. Because when we get complacent, we get stagnant. We worry about the wrong things. Because the train's still moving. The train's still moving. We must put to rest the things of the world. Right? The things that have died, that we've slaughtered, we've gotten rid of. We've got to keep them things dead. So while it's darkness, keep them things in the dark. Because those things that are about us that are dark, when do they want to pop out the most? While it's what? Dark. They want to come out and play. The earth is resting, remember? It's going to a rest time. Sleeping. Close to dead. What do the people of the world do? They want to worship the dead. Hello? Are you paying attention? They're worshiping the dead. How much was channeled the other night? How much was channeled? worship. People that do Wicca and Satanism, we're like, man, we appreciate the Christians. They give us more juice during this time of year. Because we're trying to call them up. Oh no, brother, that's crazy. It wasn't crazy to Shaul. He went to the witch of Endor, didn't he?
Oh, that was super crazy.
Oh. And she called up the dead. Oh, okay. Okay. My bad. My bad. Romans 6. What shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? Yah forbid. How shall we that are dead to sin live any longer therein? Know ye not that so many of us as were baptized into Yahshua HaMashiach were baptized into his death? Therefore we are buried with him. So you got to leave those things down. The things that you have gotten repentance from, the things that we fight and we warred against, and we've had, I'm so fed up, and you throw it and you stomp on it and you put it on the altar, that those things cannot come up. And there are certain times of the year where we have points, we're like, man, what the heck is wrong with me? But when we understand what's going on around us, that there's more darkness allotted on the earth, less light, that spiritually, the natural people who are of the world are embracing this, we got to be defensive and abrasive of it. And not wanting to become nocturnal. Because it's something that I'm familiar with. Therefore are we buried with him by baptism to death, that like as Christ was raised up from the dead by the glory of the Father, even so we should walk in newness of life. For if we have been planted together in the likeness of his death, we shall be also in the likeness of his resurrection, knowing this, that our old man is crucified with him. So we talk about us being the warden of our flesh, that we are to keep the old man down, the old woman down, whether it's an action or a thinking, or you're speaking, or just you actually doing the thing, whatever the thing is, that you are the warden. You are the high priest. You are to keep the temple under control.
That's right.
Right? And I'm not gonna go there, but it's the, you're not letting the inmates run the asylum.
That's it.
You're not. You're not letting them run the asylum.
Oh, Lord.
You have to keep them in check. So at certain times of the year, it's more dark. The inmates got to be on 24/7 lockdown. Because this is a good time for them to come out and play. Because everybody else playing. 3, where my feet? They already got trees out.
They make Halloween trees and Easter trees.
And all that
Just
good
working
stuff.
it all together.
That the old man is crucified with him, that the body of sin might be destroyed, that henceforth we should not serve sin. We have to be cognizant that things challenge us, or things erupt from our heart at certain times because of a trigger. Right? So we must identify our triggers. What triggers certain responses from me? What triggers me to say, you know what? I'm opening up that cell door in gate 3674. I'm opening up the door because I done got triggered, and I let an inmate run loose for a little bit. And we cannot do that because there's more darkness than light around us right now. Okay.
What was that you said a while ago?
Which-
That I laughed at?
The inmates run the asylum. Can let the inmates run the asylum. So we must maintain our spiritual momentum. From when? Sukkot, you were 8 days, 9 days engulfed with people about Yah, for Yah, you was engulfed in this for 8 days. Think about that. Up early praying. Those who don't have much, fellowshipping, praying, worshiping, up all night, fellowshipping, not a lot, all about Yah for 8 days. And then all of a sudden you get injected back into society. So during Sukkot, Yahshua gave you the baton. Whatever he gave you, whatever he passed to you, got to keep it. You got to keep that. That's up to you to keep the spiritual momentum. And it's supposed to carry you all the way to what? Aviv. It's supposed to carry you. Some of y'all in here done played Mario before. You know in the Mario game, what happens when you get that star? And man, you super moving. Whether it's a car, you're running, you can run. If you get multiple stars, you can run through the whole stage in about 10 seconds. Can't nothing mess with you. Well, that's what happened at Sukkot. That was spiritual momentum given for you at the end of the year. So I see you at the Aviv. I see you at the Aviv. So we have to maintain that spiritual momentum. But you know what? It's dark out there. Not a lot of light. It's only got so much time to work throughout the day. We just did Romans 6, 1 through 6. But we've been injected back into society. All right. 1 Corinthians, 3rd chapter, verse 10. 1 Corinthians, 3rd chapter, verse 10, and it reads, according to the grace of God which is given unto me as a wise master builder, I have laid the foundation, and another buildeth thereon. But let every man take heed how he build thereupon. So we all got to be building something. Amen. Everybody. For other foundation can no man lay than that is laid, which is Yahshua Mashiach. Now, if any man build upon this foundation gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, stubble, every man's work. So we got to be what? Working. But when, we get distracted, right? Or I become complacent, then I'm not what? Working. Right. And it's hard to work during this time because there's so much darkness. Every man's work shall be made manifest, for the day shall declare it. Because it shall be revealed by fire, and the fire shall try every man's work of what sort it is. If any man's work abide, which he hath built thereupon, he shall receive a reward. Okay? So reacting to triggers, being distracted, in some aspect, just daily business, these things can make us complacent. And we end up becoming the 5 foolish. Matthew 25. Matthew 25, verse 1. Hallelujah, never get there. Matthew 25 and 1, it reads, then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish. They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight there was a cry made, behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out and meet him. Then all the virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said unto us, give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out. But the wise answered, saying, not so, for there at least there not be enough for us and you. But go ye rather to them that sell and buy for yourselves. And while they went out to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. Afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, verily I say unto you, I know ye not. Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour when the Son of Man cometh. So the 5 that were foolish were distracted, got busy, became complacent. Whatever it was, they did not do what they were supposed to do. Exodus 27 and 20. Let me get that, brother, Aaron. Exodus 27 and 20. Don't know what happened, but they did not do what they were supposed to do.
And you are to command the children of Israel to bring you clear oil of pressed olives for the light, to cause the lamp to burn continually. In the tent of appointment outside the veil, which is before the witness, Aharon and his sons are to tend it from evening until morning before Yah, a law forever to their generations from the children of Israel. And you
That was just 27 and 20.
That's it.
Okay.
That's
Now-
1, 2.
And that's all good. Now, what is supposed to do with the olives again? They're supposed to do what to it?
Press.
So that means work, labor.
It burn.
You have to. You got to go to the olive tree. You got to take your stick. You got to go upside that tree, get them olives down. You got to go get the olives. You got to go press them and squeeze them. And the 5 that were foolish did not have any oil because they did not do the labor that was required. Because they became complacent.
Okay.
They became distracted. Daily things overruled the light. The more important matters. Right? We talked about this a couple weeks ago about what? Not quenching the ruach. Right? Don't quench the light that is within. David got in a lot of trouble for the murder, the setup of Uriah. Because his name, right, was a representative of God's light or his flame, and David got it quenched. Anyway, Mark 4 and 7. We're going to look at this part of this parable. Mark 4 and 7, Yahshua says, and some fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it, and it yielded no fruit. Okay? So a seed fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it, it yielded no fruit. Okay, now in 4:18 and 19, we're going to look at how he explains that to him. 4:18 in Mark. And these are they which are sown among thorns, such as hear the word, and the cares of this world, the cares of the world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and the lust of other things entering in, choke the word, and it becometh unfruitful. So in this time where there is more darkness than light, a lot of thorns out there that are free to do what? Choke the living word out of you to make you what? Unproductive or non-fruitful. But you just thought you was going to get to run up in Sukkot and yada, 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 and so on, and then come out, and then he won't get it. He can't get it. He can't get a crack at you. Can't see how good you are in your armor. Oh, okay. In darkness, thorns, tares, and weeds have no fruit, and they don't need light. Right? The world system will choke out the righteous. The world system will choke out the righteous. Okay. Going to go to our extra biblical source. I have my Sefer up there if anybody wants to use it. We're going to turn to Tobit. We're going to look at that 12th chapter. It's right there up under the books. Now, Brother Aaron, it's in yours already.
What's that?
That book is in yours. Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So if somebody who doesn't have one, there's one right there. Okay. We're going to turn to topic 12. All right. And if you can share with somebody, then have time to put it up here for us. All right. Then Tobit called his son Tobias and said unto him, my son, see that the man have his wages, which went with thee, and thou must give him more. And Tobias said unto him, O father, it is no harm to me to give him half of those things which I have brought. For he hath brought me again to thee in safety, and made whole my wife, and brought me the money, and likewise healed thee. Then the old man said, it is due unto him. So he called the angel and said unto him, take half of all that ye have brought, and go away in safety. Then he took them both apart, and said unto them, bless God, praise him, and magnify him, and praise him for the things which he hath done unto you in the sight of all that live. It is good to praise God, and exalt his name, and honorably to show forth the works of God. Therefore be not slack to praise him. It is good to keep close the secret of a king, but it is honorable to reveal the works of God. Do that which is good, and no evil shall touch you. So while there's more darkness going on, we got to find ourselves being what? Righteous. Is that not what we realized by Abraham? Well, no matter where you are, what era or time or the season, be righteous. Just
Yes,
do
sir.
the right thing.
Amen.
Get up in the morning. Just be a good person.
Mm.
And that really ain't hard when you really think about it. We try to, sometimes we make this stuff hard. We make it more than what it is. We get into little silly stuff and have to just be all just combobulated really for nothing. When it's really just simple. Do the right thing. We used to have a saying to players, DTRT. We used to say all the time, Maurice, DTRT today. Justin, DTRT today. Do the right thing. Just do the right thing. Prayer is, verse 8, prayer is with fasting and alms and righteousness. A little with righteousness is better than much with unrighteousness. He said a little with righteousness is better than much with unrighteousness. It is better to give alms than to lay up gold. For alms doth deliver from death, and shall purge away all sin. Those that exercise alms and righteousness shall be filled with life. But they that sin are enemies to their own life. Surely I will keep close nothing from you, for I said it was good to keep close the secret of a king, but it was honorable to reveal the works of God. Now therefore, when thou didst pray, and Sarah thy daughter-in-law, I did bring the remembrance of your prayers before the Holy One. And when thou did bury the dead, I was with thee likewise. And when thou delayed to rise up and leave thy dinner, and to go and cover the dead, thy good deed was not hid from me, but I was with thee. And now God has sent me to heal thee, and Sarah thy daughter-in-law. I am Raphael, one of the 7 holy angels which present the prayers of the saints, and which go in and out before the glory of the Holy One. Then they were both troubled and fell upon their faces, for they feared. But he said unto them, Fear not, for it shall go well with you. Praise God, therefore. For not of God I came, wherefore praise him forever. All these days I did appear unto you, but I did neither eat nor drink, but ye did see a vision. Now therefore give God thanks, for I go up to him that sent me, but write all things which are done in a book. But write all things which are done in a book. And when they arose, they saw him no more. Then they confessed the great and wonderful works of God, and how the angel of the Lord had appeared unto them. That was Tobit 12, 1 through 22. If you have not read that, in the beginning, Tobit and Tobias are part of the Assyrian captivity. Okay, the 10 tribes were attacked by Assyria and carried off. And this is recorded of his life in captivity. He begins with saying, hey, it's Shavuot, and I'm keeping the holy day. But he would, as he says, that he was doing things for those who didn't have. He was burying the dead. They would leave people who were dead, leave them out in the street. He would go bury them. So he was doing things and being righteous. And the angel said, everything you did, I saw. Now, long story, he ended up getting blind, becoming blind. And his son Tobias, who was honorable, did everything his father said. This person is an angel named Raphael, but they just thought it was a dude who was helping them. It was just a good guy, real smart. And long story short, he said, man, everything you did that was righteous, man, I saw it. I was with you. Now, I don't know how many years it took, but he hung in there. And we got to hang in there. We got to hang in there. Because when they get close to the Aviv, you know, you get re-fired up. But before the Aviv, we got to be hanging in there. Job 27. But he stressed upon them about the goodness of the righteousness. Just doing the right thing. DTRT. I might start saying that again. DTRT. Do the right thing. Don't make it hard. Job 27 and 6. My righteousness I hold fast, and will not let it go. My heart shall not reproach me so long as I live. My righteousness I hold fast, and I will not let it go. Job 27 and 6. Okay, maintaining righteousness as the world goes apostate. Right? There's all kind of signs, danger, wrong way, turn back. But we know that Yahshua said that the wide are going this way. The road of destruction is wide and many be on it, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay? So we're going to look at some things. We're going to look at, as we talked about a little bit in class today, about the way things used to be and how they are now. And how when things happen in a society and it's allowed to go, that it desensitizes us to really sin. That's what we're talking about. So we're going to look at a couple of things, because we live in America. All right, 1441, there was a deportation of captives from the West Africa. Obviously, that goes all over the globe. It wasn't until 1619, official beginning of the chattel slavery. Okay, we got to understand that slavery is just for the Slavs, because there were because the black Arabs had Europeans as slaves. They also had the Israelites as slaves also. So that's where the word slavery comes from. Chattel slavery. Also understand in chattel slavery time that there were free people of color who had people of color as slaves. That is history. Just got to take it as it is. But the official beginning of chattel slavery in the colonies under British rule, okay, the 13 colonies. So we have about 247 years of dehumanizing, murder, rape, etc. Okay, until 1619 to about 1865, 1866, when slavery is supposed to quote unquote end. All right, we have the U.S. expansions, the westward expansion, right, going west, reclaiming or claiming the West. Claiming Hawaii, Puerto Rico, the Philippines. This is the late 19th century, early 20th century. Okay, so we are invading other countries because we are taking the Bible and a gun and our goodness and so on and so forth. But once again, you've had this right here. So going into other places and doing the same thing is not as, it's not as whatever. Alcohol prohibition in the 1920 through 33. After 33, alcohol becomes legal. And I say legal, let me take that back. Alcohol prohibition during 1920 through 1933. You can drink alcohol, but you can't make it. You can't sell it. You can't manufacture it, but you can drink it. So at one point in America, folks were like, no, we don't want people getting drunk. Okay, obviously, rightfully so. In 1962, prayers taken out of school. I don't have the dates for it, but obviously we're in our era of LGBT laws that are passed, and now marijuana is legalized, is now a state right. Okay, it's a state right. So the federal has passed it, and it's up to the states whether or not marijuana is legal or for whatever purpose. So point being is that we are seeing from one point in time in America just keep going down, things get morally worse. Just talking about morals. Okay. Things get worse. Just do it. Because everybody got a pair of Nikes. I got some hoop shorts as Nike. Got some shoes as Nike. Keep them clean. Got your boy Cap on there. Nike's 30th year man. They wanted to use him. And that phrase, just do it. You've heard this before. It's very familiar. You've heard it before. Do as thou wilt. Do what thou wilt. It's the same thing. A multi-billion-dollar business that's so potent, the NFL just kind of, well, if you want to do that, even got Donald Trump, he just kind of like, see how they kind of bag up whenever Nike gets involved. When it's just the players, you sons up. But when a multi-billion-dollar, and Nike is named after, I think, a Greek or Roman god, the goddess of war, I think. Just do it. And old knucklehead Aleister Crowley, wicked, evil, sorcerer, mason, magic man, and your boy Jay-Z, he know it. Do as thou wilt. So desensitizing morals and acceptance of sin is masqueraded as equality. One of the things that is used is from the civil rights era in the 60s. So equality is a masquerade for the right to sin, to do whatever you want to do. Just as he said, and just as Jay-Z promotes, and just as Nike, and that's their slogan, that's their mascot. The swoosh with "just do it." See that, you know exactly what's going on. You might not know who Phil Knight is, but you know who that is. You know when you see that "just do it," you know that's Nike. All right, I took some quotes out of a book here because we talked about becoming complacent. Okay, there's a book called The Committee of 300 by Dr. John C. Coleman. I'm gonna read Dr. John Coleman. I'm gonna read some stuff out of here, and I try to keep us in line with reality. Now remember that first slide was a train coming down the track, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, there are people who are pushing that train. And Yo Elohim, Yahuwah Elohim, Yah Elohim, he's letting them do it. Mm-hmm. You got to be about your business. Mm-hmm. Regardless of what they do and what he allows them to do, it's a bigger game going on. So we don't need to be getting caught up in the things of natural men, in the things of the natural world. Because if you do that, you're going to end up dying. End up falling short. So we're going to look at this Committee of 300 by Dr. John Coleman. Brzezinski, we're going to look at him in a little bit. Brzezinski is the author of a paper that should be read by every American interested in the future of this country, entitled The Technotronic Era. It was commissioned by the Club of Rome. If I was you, I would look up Club of Rome and I would look up Brzezinski. Well, actually, I'll give you stuff on him. This is on page 22. In addition to religion, the opiate of the masses, which Lenin and Marx acknowledged was needed, we now have the opiates of mass spectator sport, unbridled sexual lust, rock music, and a whole new generation of drug addicts. So if you say, if that's part of your testimony, man, I was high as a kite, man, I was sniffing powder, I was doing crack, I was doing this, that was planned for you. So if you were in the dope era, if you wanted to smoke it or snort it or pop it or whatever, this was planned. That was that train. That was that runaway train. A new generation of drug addicts, mindless sex, and an epidemic. So if you out there pimping and hoeing, then they created a status where that would be acceptable. In some point in time, it wasn't. But once it's engineered, it becomes acceptable. Because remember, just do it. Mindless sex and an epidemic of drug usage was created to distract people from what was happening all around them. Page 22. It is hardly surprising to find this kind of research going on. We have known about it since the early 60s from the files of the Tavistock Institute. That's why I have these books and I keep them around and I show them to you. Okay, Tavistock Institute, Social Engineering of the Masses, think tanks. They're real. It's out in Britain. Okay. From the files of Tavistock Institute, Brzezinski was so overcome with excitement by these experiments that he practically told all in his technotronic era. What is the noteworthy and frightening, however, is the extent of which these mind control experiments have progressed. However, is the extent to which these mind control experiments have progressed until today. They are 100% successful. They are 100% successful. In altering and controlling the human mind. Page 38. Today, people believe that they are well informed, But what they do not realize that the opinions they believe are their own.
Yes.
They believe what they own.
Is that the opinions they believe are their own, were in fact created by the research institutions and think tanks of America. And that none of us is really free to form our own opinions about the information provided by the media.
That's it.
And the pollsters, page 58. But one of the most sinister of all SRC programs, I think that was Stanford Research Center. But one of the most sinister of all of the SRC programs, capable of doing tremendous damage and altering the direction in which the United States will go, socially, morally, and religiously. There was a song I used to listen, I can't remember back in the day. I always feel like somebody's watching me. Well, they are trying to engineer people. So they're trying to get you to think a certain way, act a certain way, even believe in God a certain way. Socially, morally, and religiously is Stanford's Charles F. Kettering Foundation, Changing Images of Man, page 66. I think they were talking about he was talking about the changing image of a man. The nation was to be programmed to change and become so accustomed to such planned changes that it would hardly be noticeable when truly profound changes did occur. Is that why abortion is what it is, and sex trafficking, and just things are what they are? It's like no big deal. We have gone downhill so fast since the Aquarian Conspiracy, the book title of Willis Harman's technical paper, was written, that today divorce draws no stigma. Suicide is at an all-time high. And raises few eyebrows. Let them all out. Thank you. Social deviations from the norm and sexual aberrations, once unmentionable in decent circles, are now commonplace and excite no common protest. So things that people should be on the street protesting about, they're not. But things that make no sense on why you're protesting, they are. Right? We're seeing this now, right? One guy takes a knee, and now you got folks in the school taking knees. Like, why are you doing that again? Or program it. Pimping now. This is the guy, Zbigniew Brzezinski, born March 28, 1928, died May 26, 2017. I tell you, these men, these powerful men, you know what I do know about this? They gotta die. They gonna die. So he wrote Between Two Ages, America's Rule in a Tectonic Era, 1970. This same guy was a counselor for President Lyndon B. Johnson, 1966 through 68. This same guy was a national security advisor for President Jimmy Carter, 1977 to 1981.
Wow.
Harvard professor, member of the Council on Foreign Relations, member of the Bilderberg Group. He loved Obama. Obama loved him. Obama introduced him as one of our brightest thinkers. He was upset when Trump got in. Why was he upset? Because Trump's gonna save us? No, it's just not part of his crew. Just not part of his crew. It's right there in your office. So our mamas, or grandmamas, and granddad's probably voted for somebody, and he served on their cabinet. And you know what he's about? Social engineering, controlling the mass people. Once again, that train rolling. The train is rolling. So it really doesn't matter. But if you're stuck in this system, then you're going to go down, because the system is going to go down. And in their mind, they're going to win. This is where we're headed. Pay attention.
Did your computer overheat?
Okay.
Computer can overheat.
There it is. Did you put something back?
I don't know what happened.
Maybe your mouse turned off. Or your computer overheated.
Must be on something.
Gentlemen.
Must be on something right. Yeah, how about you just go back to everything I had up here?
Yes, restore. Dear.
Where?
Blue button to your right.
That?
Yes, sir. Just scroll down to the slide you were on. If you give it just a second.
Yeah.
I was gonna tell you to scroll down to the slide you were on and
Then do present.
yes, sir.
I ain't never had it before, so alright. You're like, no, don't do that. Don't play that song.
If you're on the Wi-Fi, if you could disconnect your Wi-Fi except for him. If you're on the Wi-Fi, just turn it off.
Okay. You mean, you got TV remote?
It's right there.
No.
Where you're in.
I need to turn it up.
There you go.
My bad, bro. Listen, hold on.
I got you.
The answer's
Correct.
no.
Yes.
And then,
Source.
yeah.
PC.
We have in this past year made great progress, ending the long era of conflict and Cold War. We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Well,
You heard that, didn't you?
yep.
Just the area that you live in, ain't it? Oh, okay. We've been warned about where we are going. President Eisenhower, 1961, on his exit speech, talked about the military-industrial complex, talked about the banking system, talking about how the government was being overtaken. President Kennedy said, no more secret societies. There's a plot in this country to enslave every man, woman, and child. Before I leave this high and notable office, I intend to expose this plot. You know, you won't believe what happened. They said, President Kennedy, you need to go to downtown Dallas and make sure when you go, drive around the grassy knoll. We'll have you protected. Assassinated 7 days later. So remember the train now. So y'all's like, okay, you gotta be like Tobit and Tobias. I don't care where you're behind that. You're gonna honor my laws and my command. Are you gonna be found righteous and truthful and just? I don't care what system you're in. Even if you're one of the worst systems, worst structures, he was like, you're gonna have to be about me. Mashiach must address, we talked about this during Sukkot, the garden, right? Genesis, all 3rd chapter, right? And particularly 22, man has become as one of us now, knowing good and evil, right? And what was one of the reasons, I think my wife pulled out in Torah class some weeks ago, why was that younger generation allowed to go in?
They did not know. They did not know. They did not have the knowledge of good and evil.
They did not have the knowledge of good and evil. So Mashiach's going to address that. We talked about Enoch chapters. He's going to address that. And the Tower of Babel. Genesis 10, 6 through 10, you know who the people are responsible. Cush, Nimrod. Okay? Cush, son of Ham. Nimrod, son of Cush. And then Genesis 11, 1 through 9, the Tower of Babel. And they were all what? One. Now, what did we just hear George W.H. Bush just say? That there will be a new world. So remember I said the train coming now. It must be this way. And you're going to have to be found righteous in the end in a system that's going to have that is literally wanting to have everybody a part of it. And will you be found faithful? Push come to shove. This is more deeper than no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Well, you stuck in the system. You believe everything they say socially, morally, and daggum sure religiously. Whatever. Jack Ma. Has anybody heard of Jack Ma or the Alibaba group? Anybody have heard of that? So that's why I try to keep y'all on game. Jack Ma. Globalization is going through growing pains. That means it's already started. Are you ready? I'm trying to keep y'all on game. Pay attention.
I think globalization cannot be stopped. Nobody can stop globalization. Nobody can stop trade. And I believe if trade stops, war stops. Trade is the way to solve to dissolve the war, not cause the wars. I think globalization did a fantastic job in the past 30 years. Enriched a lot of countries, but of course caused a lot of problems, right? Young people did not have opportunities. Small business have not opportunities. Developing countries were neglected. But it's only 30 years. It's a baby. It's a growth. You have to improve it. If you do not improve it, then you kill it. It's easy. Most of the time, to kill something is much easier. So my belief is it's our generation's job. Today, we have a better technology. We have a better knowledge about globalization. And it's our generation's responsibility or opportunity to improve it. Tell me, how can you stop globalization?
That's your behind now. You won't believe it in Revelation. They were one. They were one. And they were all able to give their power to one. So in other words, the globe must be one. And he just said it. You can't stop. He said it's 30 years old. When we heard what Bush said, that was in the 90s. So over 20 years ago. So once again, this is the train. You got to be ready. See, this is why we have to walk by the Spirit. Can't be in your emotions. Can't be in your... Don't have time to get distracted. Or we don't have time not to be about the business. Because they doing their part. And y'all's allowing you to do it. Oh, now you don't want to turn it, okay. That's why I got to back up. Yah will let them build what was started in Genesis. I hope this, you heard what they said. This is where they going. George Bush, Jack Ma, Brzezinski, all on the same page. One's a Democrat, one's a Republican, one's an Asian. And they're saying globalize, globalize. This is our dream. This is going to be great for everybody. So y'all's going to let them build what was started in Genesis.
Like all those buildings they're building in Jackson right now?
No.
Will I got the I big on there. Will I be found faithful? Because this is going to happen. And your button's going to be pushed. And you're going to be put in some precarious situations. And you're going to have to choose who you're going to serve. 1 Corinthians 6. I'm sorry. 1 Corinthians 4, my bad. Will I be found faithful? It's all said and done. So when we have our downtime or bad time or going through, they still moving, baby. They still moving quickly. How many was in Jackson Wednesday night and heard them sirens? Huh? Now what you gonna do when it's broad daylight and them sirens going off? Will you be ready?
No, not really.
Well, I hope we are ready.
No, we have to go to school.
1 Corinthians 4, 1 through 5. Let a man so account of us as of the ministers of Christ and stewards of the mysteries of God. We're supposed to be stewards of the mysteries of Elohim. Moreover, it is required in a steward that a man be found what? Faithful. But with me is a very small thing that I should be judged of you or of man's judgment. Yea, I judge not my own self, for I know nothing by myself. Yet I am not hereby justified, but he that judgeth me is the Lord. Therefore judge nothing before the time until the Lord come, who both will bring to light the hidden things of darkness and will make manifest the counsels of the hearts, and then shall every man have praise of God. So y'all gonna put, look, we're gonna put on Front Street one way or the other. 1 Corinthians 6, 1 through 20. Dare any of you having a matter against another to go law before the unjust and not before the saints? Do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world? And if the world shall be judged by you, are ye unworthy to judge the smallest matters? Know ye not that we shall judge angels? How much more things that pertain to this life? If ye then have judgments of things pertaining to this life, set them to judge who are least esteemed in the church. I speak to your shame. It is so that there is not a wise man among you, no, not one, that should be able to judge between his brethren. But brother go to law with brother, and that before the unbelievers. Now therefore there is utterly a fault among you, because ye go to law with one another. Why do you not rather take wrong? Why do you not rather suffer yourselves to be defrauded? Nay, you do wrong and defraud, and that your brother, he's like, hey man, why y'all in this trying to fix scenarios based on the world system? So we know we're going to be put in a situation, right, where everything that we do is going to be entangled in the what? World system. They've been plotting it and planning it for I don't know how many years. Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of Elohim? But be not deceived, neither fornicators, idolaters, adulterers, effeminate, meaning they sweet, nor abusers of themselves with mankind, nor thieves, covetous, nor drunkards, nor revilers, nor extortioners shall inherit the kingdom of Elohim. And such were some of you, but ye are washed.
Hallelujah.
But you were sanctified, right? You went to the well. Huh? But you are sanctified, but you are justified in the name of the Lord Yahshua and by the Ruach of our Elohim. All things are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient. Ain't necessary. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be brought under the power of any. How strong are we? Once again, the inmates cannot run the asylum. You got to keep things that are supposed to be down and dead, keep them there down and dead. Meat for the belly and the belly for the meat, but God shall destroy both it and them. Now the body is not for fornication, but for the Lord, and the Lord for the body. And God hath both raised up the Lord, and shall also raise us up by his own power. Know ye not that your bodies are the members of Mashiach? For I shall then take the members of Mashiach and make them the members of a harlot? God forbid. What, know ye not that he which is joined to a harlot is one body? For two, saith he, shall be one flesh. But he that is joined unto the Lord is one spirit. Flee fornication. Every sin that a man doeth is without the body, but he that committeth fornication sinneth against his own body. What, know ye not that your body is a temple of the Holy Ghost, which is in you, which ye have not, which ye have of God, and not of your own? For ye are bought with a price. Therefore, glorify Elohim in your body and in your spirit, which are God. That's what the angel told Tobit and Tobias about righteousness and alms. DTRT. What that mean again? Do the right thing. Just do the right thing. 1 Timothy. Gotta be able to do the right thing. Not become stagnant, not become complacent. Because while we're complacent, they're moving. They're hustling, man. I don't know what to tell you. It's a fumble on the field. They getting the ball. 1 Timothy 5:1. Rebuke not an elder, but entreat him as a father, and the younger men as brethren. The elder women as mothers, the younger as sisters with all purity. Honor widows that are widows indeed. But if any widow have children or nephews, let them learn first to show piety at home and to requite their parents, for that is good and acceptable before God. Now she that is a widow indeed and desolate trusts in God, and continueth in supplications and prayers night and day. But she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth. And these things give in charge, that they may be blameless. But if any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he hath denied the faith, and is worse than an infidel. Let not a widow be taken into the number under 80 years old, having been the wife of one man, well reported of for good works, if she have brought up children, if she have lodged strangers, if she have washed the saints' feet, if she have relieved the afflicted, if she have diligently followed every good work. Look, all of us are trying to be a bride of Mashiach. Do we fit that category right there? Verse 10. Well reported of for good works. We have brought up children, if she lodged strangers, washed the saints' feet, relieved the afflicted, diligently followed every good work. That's who y'all sure trying to marry now. But the younger widows refuse, for when they have begun to wax wanton against Mashiach, they will marry, having damnation because they have cast off their first faith. And withal, they learn to be idle, right? Becoming complacent, idle, wandering about from house to house, not only idle, but tattlers also, and busybodies, speaking things which they ought not. I will therefore that the younger women marry, bear children, guide the house, give no occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully. Like earlier today, we looked at in Jasher with Sarah. Did the adversary speak to her? When that pulled out in Jasher today? Hello? Yes?
Mm-hmm.
The adversary spoke to her?
Yes.
So we have Shaul telling Timothy to tell the people, I will therefore that the younger women marry, bear children, guide the house, give no occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully. For some are already turned aside after Satan. People in this way, they're not for real, man. Half these folks on the internet and YouTube is fake as a $3 bill. Fake as Monopoly money. Fake. Want your money. If they a man teaching and you a woman, they want your behind. Fake. You gotta know when somebody pimping you. You gotta know when somebody playing you. Half the folks in this truth. Look, this we just looked at. They are purposely socially programmed in society. And do you think it's as people talk about, man, I'm a woke, I'm an Israelite, I know my heritage. Do you not realize that is paralleling with, Black power and this and all that's at the same time for a reason. I know Yah doing what he doing, but you got to understand that all this consciousness, black consciousness, and I'm woke now, and what they call it, woke Twitter, social justice warrior, all that's going on at the same time that people are understanding their Israelite heritage. Hello? Do you not think that's not done for a reason? I think it's called black extremist groups, but something. They already got a name for it. While you woke.
Black identity extremists.
Black identity extremists, thank you. They already got a name for it. So while you, and there's some that are, I think Amari Stoudemire is pretty for real. I don't know about Nick Cannon. I don't know about some of the other. I don't know about some of them other people. But no, Colin. Never mind. I'm not gonna go there. I want to say Negro, please. Matthew 20. But once again, they let you know that they don't want you to think for yourself. I'll think for you. I don't want you to think. I need you irrational. I need you wild as a buck. Matthew 20, verse 1. For the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is a householder which went out early in the morning to hire laborers to his vineyard. Y'all looking for workers. When he had agreed with the laborers for a penny a day, he sent them to his vineyard. And when he went about the third hour, he saw others standing what? Idle. Twirling the thumbs. So Yahshua was like, hey, look, I don't want y'all being idle. Especially during this time. Because you might get caught up or swept up in some wild, crazy waters. You might get blown off your rock by some hard, wild wind. Standing idle in the marketplace. He said unto them, go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right I will give you. And they went away. Again, he went out about the 6th and 9th hour and did likewise. And about the 11th hour he went out and found others standing idle. He said unto them, why stand ye here all the day idle? He's like, man, look, and he said, look, I will put you in my vineyard at the last minute. I will put you in there. They said to him, because no man hath hired us. He said to them, go ye also to the vineyard, whatsoever is right, that shall ye receive. So when evening was come, the Lord of the vineyard said unto his stewards, call the laborers and give them their hire, beginning with the last unto the first. Some of us just getting in. He said, I'm going to do to you what's right. I'm going to give to you what's right. When they came in that they were hired about the 11th hour, they received every man a penny. But when they first came, they supposed that they should have received more. And they likewise received every man a penny. And when they had received it, they murmured against the goodman of the house, saying, these last have wrought but 1 hour, which have made them equal unto us, which have borne the burden and the heat of the day. But he answered one of them and said, friend, do I do thee no wrong? Dost thou not agree with me for a penny? Are we not in some kind of a covenant with him? Take that thine is and go thy way, and I will give unto this last even as unto thee. Is it not lawful for me to do what I will with mine own? Is thine eye evil because I am good? So the last shall be first, and the first shall be last. For many be called, but few are what? Chosen. I'm all done. Workers swim, dreamers drown. Okay, workers swim, so we gotta get to work. Right? I mean, literally get to work, but also kingdom work. Gotta get to work. Dreamers drown. You got something you want to do? Do it. Workers swim, dreamers drown. Proverbs 19. Proverbs 19 and 13. And it reads, a foolish son is the calamity of his father, and the contentions of a wife are a continual drop. House and riches are the inheritance of fathers, and a prudent wife is from the Lord. Slothfulness casts into a deep sleep, and an idle soul shall suffer hunger. Okay, you gotta work. Got things that gotta be working to, right? You gotta keep that spiritual momentum that you got during Sukkot. Proverbs 6, being 6 and then 6. Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provideth her meat in the summer, and gathereth her food in the harvest. How long wilt thou sleep, O sluggard? When wilt thou arise out of thy sleep? Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall thy poverty come as one that travaileth, and thy want as an armed man.
They work hard.
They work
Together.
So now how we started in 1 Corinthians and Philippians. Saints of the Most High God work together, especially while there's not that much light. While there's not that much light, the saints of the Most High, we're supposed to be like some ants. Let's be ants. Or get exposed by Yahoo. Y'all know who that is?
Marilyn.
Marilyn Monroe. Remember that famous scene? She's on the subway and the wind blows and blows her skirt up. That's part of that things, socially accepting things, right? Because during that era in the 60s, that's supposed to be like a no-no. But it's Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe. And see, this is the problem. Is that the way the train in the first slide was rolling, that if we get caught on that track, we're going to be like getting our skirt exposed. So whatever drawers and panties you got on, it's going to be exposed.
Right.
Jeremiah 13:26, sir. Saints going to be in a precarious situation.
I shall even draw your skirts.
He going to do what?
I draw your skirts over your face, and your shame shall be seen.
So I'm looking. He said, draw some panties. Most I say, he going to pull your skirt up, pull over your head, expose everything. Give me Nahum 3 and 5. That was Jeremiah 13:26. Now we're in Nahum 3 and 5. It might say Nahum in that.
See, I am against you, declares Yah of hosts, and shall lift up your skirts your skirts over your face, and shall show nations your nakedness, and reigns your shame.
So the train is moving. They're excited about it. They're over 30 years in the game. They're about, in their mind, 20 so years away. So if you're 30 something now, in your 50s. If you're 40 something, in your 60s. If you're 50 something, in your 70s. And we're going to be full speed ahead into globalization. Like it, love it, and Yah is expecting you to walk and talk and be light regardless of what's going to. If not, He's going to expose you. Romans 2. Romans 2. We'll close on these. So I won't keep it too long. No, in a few minutes. I ain't going that much over. Romans 2 and 11. For there is no respect of persons with Elohim. For as many as have sinned without law shall also perish without law. As many as have sinned in the law shall be judged by the law. Right, that covers it. That covers everybody. Huh? For not the hearers of the law are just before God, but the doers of the law shall be justified. For when the Gentiles, which have not the law, do by nature the things contained in the law, these having not the law are a law unto themselves, which show the work of the law written in their hearts. Which show the work of the law written in their hearts. This has got to be us. We've got to have the Torah written on our hearts. Their conscience also bearing witness. So as the train keeps moving, as they doing what they doing, and as there's more darkness, as all this stuff going on around us, we have to have the law written on our hearts. Our conscience bears witness, and their thoughts the meanwhile accusing or else excusing one another. In the day when the judge shall judge the secrets of men by Yahshua HaMashiach according to my gospel. Hebrews 3 and 13. Hebrews 3 and 13. Verse 12. Hebrews 3 and 12. Take heed, brethren, lest there be in any of you an evil heart of unbelief. So we got to be in the off season. Work on yourself. Focus on yourself. Take heed, brethren, lest there be in any of you an evil heart of unbelief in departing from the living Elohim. Because when the things of the heart sprout up that are not right, it pulls you away from Yah. But exhort one another daily, while it is called today, lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. But exhort one another daily. Is that in your vocabulary? Are you exhorting the brethren daily, while it is called today? You're supposed to. Lest any of you be hardened through deceitfulness of sin. Turn to Romans 7:11. You won't believe what Shaul said about that. Because if we don't lift up our brethren and we become hard to sin, look at this, what Shaul say in 7 and 11. Romans. What did he say? I'll tell you what he said. For sin, taking occasion by the what? Commandment, deceived me, and by it slew me. So you got to have the law written on your heart. If the law is written on your heart, you're going to exalt your brothers and sisters daily. But if we have hardened things in our heart, then it throws us off. And Shaul says, for sin, taking occasion by the commandment, deceived me. Okay. So while we're in this time, brothers and sisters, we want to make sure that we are not getting complacent. That we are focused on the Most High Yah and not losing our momentum, things that was picked up during the feast. And we got to keep that. We got to be workers and laborers in the vineyard, workers and laborers in our home, and exhorting one another. Because the world is getting, they doing what they're going to do. And you heard what he said. Ain't no way you're going to stop it. You heard the man said, that's a multi-billionaire. So you're not going to stop this that's coming. So y'all's going to allow it to happen. You got to be on your game. So Todah Yah, B'Shem Yahshua, for the word and for inspiration and for loving his people. Right? He loves us more than we love ourselves. Okay? But our website is up here, and email is up here. Obviously YouTube and Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. Monday to Friday, we got prayer, 5:30 a.m., 12 p.m. prayer line. Some of my work stuff has changed. It's kind of thrown me off, but there's going to always be somebody there. Usually it is. Wednesday Bible study, 8:30 p.m. Next Shabbat, we started at really that should be 10:45. It's getting darker, so we're going to start earlier. The hedgemen should be here, and Amen, hallelujah. The family should be here and back united. And so we'll start our Hebrew class 10:45. Homework, I know some of y'all already got it done, been itching to get on it, but your homework, if you haven't got your homework done, okay, Genesis 26 and 5. We'll start at 10:45 for Hebrew class. We're going to go about 45 minutes. It'll be every Shabbat, except when we go to Corinth. And that is all.